And good morning, day 5 in Cannes, the Festival of Creativity. I'm here with Simon Wylie, who is the CEO of Contagious Communications. Simon, you have been investigating what's going on with the juries and the categories. A lot of talk about the diffusion of these categories. I'm sure anybody who's here and anybody who's entering wants to know what's going on.
Well, it's something that we have been looking at, certainly feeling this year. Because I think the diffusion of categories at Cannes is causing some interesting anomalies. So if we take the PR category, for example, it's pretty clear that either PR isn't really being judged or isn't really the entitlement of the PR industry. I don't think it's either, to be perfectly frank. But it's clear that if you've got PR in your name, you're probably not going to win in the PR category. And that's interesting because, this is a peer group festival. You're judged by your peer group. So there's a paradox going on there which we think is really interesting. The blurring, if you like, not just of the categories, but indeed in terms of what companies do, in terms of their capability, also causes a lot of issues as well. So for us, that became something that we were looking at. A little plug for us, we've been covering it on our Cannes Contagious radio station, which is on SoundCloud, which I recommend for everybody to go and have a listen to. And secondly, it also creates something which is what we're going to be talking about on Saturday at 11 o'clock, which is this relentless pursuit of the new. And what that does, and it was interesting at a session yesterday to hear the producer of Downton Abbey talk about this reverse engineering creativity process, which is the relentless pursuit of the new effectively leads people to be tempted to reverse engineer their creative idea back into what was successful this time or last time. And that's not really going to be an effective way to develop your ideas. We're also talking on Saturday about teaching new technology, old tricks, which I think will be a fascinating opening half hour where Contagious really looks at some of the, again, this relentless pursuit of the new, where in fact actually technology was supposed to transform the way that we communicate. And actually, perhaps in the pursuit of that, we've forgotten some of the founding principles of marketing and advertising. So that's going to be really interesting as well.
So you fear perhaps technology is now the tail that's wagging the dog in some cases?
I think it can be if you allow it to. But I think if one goes back to look at the fundamentals of what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it, some of the basic human behaviours remain unchanged. It's obvious, because this is half of the reason why Contagious exists, that technology is really having a huge impact on how consumers behave, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the defining way in which you approach them. So Will Sampson, who's our head of strategy and content at Contagious Insider, Nick Parrish, who's our North American editorial director, will be talking on stage on Saturday about that, and I, for one, am really looking forward to it.
And this is OTV here on Cannes, day 5.